And welcome back. Happy Thanksgiving. I hope everybody had a great Thanksgiving. And if you had plans today for, I don't know, doing some Black Friday shopping, online shopping, whatever the case may be, I hope you got everything you needed. And also, hopefully, you're getting ready. If you're listening to this, halftime or whatever the case may be, Bears Eagles is about to start as I'm recording this. I think that slate is going to lock in about 7 minutes or so from the time that I'm actually recording this. Obviously, it takes time to set up tags, links, and other things or whatever, and then obviously the upload process. But enjoy your day watching some Friday afternoon football if you was able to knock out all your shopping early. But enough of that. Welcome back to your boy, Grade A Fantasy, here with the tight end defensive preview. And right after that, we'll get the wide receiver video up as well. Still some news coming in, but let's get right to it. And like I said, probably didn't really mention this in the quarterback running back video, but man, I did have some fun playing yesterday's slate, and it's been a good November, profitable November. But man, this slate looks rough. It really does. It really looks rough. But let's get right into it. Trey McBride, he's the man. Tampa Bay does guard the tight end well, but it's still Trey McBride, and he deserves to be 8,300. Brock Bowers 1,000 less against the Chargers. At the Chargers, that's still just a really good defense. It's pretty hard to play, Vegas at the moment. George Kittle might be in the business of possibly being the best pay up, maybe. Even though that game now, the total keeps dropping. I think that thing started at 42, 41 and a half. That's still pretty low. It's under 40. I think it got to 38 and a half now. That game is now, as of right now, 22. So between 20 to 30 mile per hour winds, snow, maybe mixture of rain. It's going to be an ugly game. What does that do? A lot of volume to McCaffrey and Kittle. So because of the volume, and it is an easier matchup with Cleveland, even though Cleveland is a defense that I respect, Kittle damn near might be a better play at tight end. You save you save almost 2,000. I mean, what, 2,500, 2,600 from McBride. So Kittle will be busy that day due to the weather. Other top plays, I think Kincaid is leaning on his way back. Would be a nice stack against Josh Allen. I'm not gonna lie though, right here in the midsection, here's my galaxy play. I love both tight ends for the Saints. Taysom Hill, we've seen in the past especially when Kamara's out. There's a lot of inside the 20 gimmicky stuff. He got 10, maybe 11, 12 attempts last week, and against not a really good defense in Miami. Yeah, I definitely love Taysom Hill this week. It may sound like a dart throw, a very low-owned dart throw, but I think Taysom Hill has 2 touchdown upside. He really does for 5,600, and with his rushing ability. And right next to him, Juwan Johnson. I mean, he has been playing well ever since the quarterback changed. The Saints are still attacking the field, but just more consistently. The Saints offense has looked more competent, and they gotta pass that ball. It would be a good idea to run with a Devin Neal if Kamara is confirmed out, which it is trending that way. But right now, Tyler Shuck is definitely getting the ball down the field more accurately than Spencer Rattler. So, and it's somewhat of a good matchup with the Saints. I actually like the contrarian look on this. This is not Saints are not bad stacked, but I will be taking a chance in lineups with Juwan Johnson and Taysom Hill. Bottom 3 matchup against the tight end position. As we keep going, we still have injury situations, but this is still the Arizona defense. Cade Otton definitely looks better now that Baker Mayfield is still trending on now playing this week. So that game has definitely shootout potential. Tampa Bay being the pass footer that they are, Arizona just being a bad defense. Kate Out definitely looks better with Mayfield rather than Terry Bridgewater. Dalton Schultz, he gets CJ Stroud back. It was just announced literally minutes ago before I started this video. Schultz will get his quarterback back. Don't you dare say anything. Me being the 20 max, if I have him one time, it's too much. I'll say his name once and we'll move on. Kyle, damn, I can't believe I'm calling him Kiss My Ass Pitts, and he is a Florida boy. I don't know, but he needs to leave. He has too much skill to just be this bust that everybody's talking about. He just has to leave. Let's continue down when it comes to some of this budget stuff. These budget tight ends. Harold Fanning in that ugly game. Gonna see some checkdowns. Bretton Strange seems good against Tennessee at a cheap price of 5,100. Mason Taylor it's basically Mason Taylor and Mechie, the main guys that Tyrod looks for. So, and then if it's not them, it's Breece Hall. So just because of what's the lack of what's left on the Jets roster at home against Atlanta, who does guard the tight end well, but still a good thing to target. It is Jacksonville. If Chig can't make it, obviously Kobe Parks is now a bit of an option now that Tyler Higbee's out. Gunnerheim, I actually might like looking good towards that. Now that the Bengals are off the slate, it's now Tennessee who's not good at the tight end, so maybe Cam Ward looks his way possibly. I mean, like I said, some of these rookie quarterbacks and these young, they're progressing. He got 5 and 7 last week, so definitely looking at that for sure. Other than that, I don't know. These are all no. Not really looking at anything down here. The lowest I'll go is Mr. Heim, and I do like Tennessee this week. Like I said, there's a lot of these guys. Now, I don't want to stack Cam Ward. The only thing that I've mentioned about Tennessee so far, and I will get to Tennessee a little bit later in the video as well. I think because of Jacksonville, I think Pollard is a pretty good option, and obviously in the next video they have some wide receivers that are good options as well. But when it comes to the pay-ups aren't like great. Like there's opportunity there, but I really think you have options with the Arondé Gadsens. If Kincaid is there, yes. Then if not, Knox. But I love Taysom Hill and Juwan Johnson this week. They're my favorite tight end. I think I might get weird and actually play them both. It's simply concentrated. It's Neal, Shuck gets it down the field. He's going to get it to Juwan. He's going to get it to Olave. Raheem Shaheed is not there, so you got, and then they just lost Brandon Cooks. It literally goes to 3 people. It's almost as concentrated. Like they're a less high octane version of the Dolphins. Tyreek, Waddle, yes, Waller started, but we know what the Dolphins are: Tua, A-Chain, Waddle, Tyreek. With the Saints, and with them letting some people go, it is Olave, Juwan Johnson. And now Taysom Hill, he's fully recovered because they were working him back in. Taysom Hill and Shuck. That's it. We'll see what Devin Neal has, but Devin Neal's upside will be cut short because he might get the yardage once again. He might, and then Taysom Hill has the ability to break because this is one of the worst tackling teams in the league. Taysom Hill has the ability to break some tackles and maybe get a 23-yard run. But between the 20s, Neal will most likely be the guy. Once it gets inside that red zone, especially in that 10-yard area, oh yeah, Taysom Hill will probably cap it off with his own touchdowns. That's why I feel Taysom Hill has the 2-touchdown upside. Let's continue here and let's get into the defense. And there's a lot, and I think there's a lot to talk about the defense. There's definitely a lot. McCarthy trending back into protocol. So Minnesota will be starting a backup. Seahawks are at home. They are worth $55,000. Okay, maybe not $5,500. Okay, maybe not that much. But if the McCarthy news would have probably been there and they would have known that the Minnesota's backer would have been in there as much as they're struggling and then they go into Seattle, I would not be surprised. Because it hasn't happened yet this season, too. The last few seasons, we've had defense that get priced up. They're playing so well, and they're getting priced up $5,100. We've seen the Cowboys a few years ago when that defense was just about creating turnovers, but they knew how to turn those turnovers into points week after week after week. They got the 5,200 against some teams. Well, Seattle's basically a $5,200 value. The matchup is so good. Just think about taking Seattle at 5,000 and that you're saving 200. Jacksonville at Tennessee is an option. You know I don't like Jacksonville. Tennessee is not a juggernaut, but they are getting a little bit better. So this is one of those where at 4,900, Jacksonville doesn't, create turnovers. I think they can get some sacks. Cam Ward holds on to the ball. They're still a good play. They're not a great play. Because of what Tennessee can do, and you can't trust Jacksonville. Jacksonville seems to be more of a $4,500, $4,300 defense this week because, Tennessee has been improving. And like I said, Jacksonville is, just can't trust them. Obviously, because of the weather situation, I actually like San Francisco more than Jacksonville, which is crazy to say because they're all going against Tennessee. But still, the weather is going to make that a low-scoring game, which is a safe 10 points right there. The Rams defense against Carolina is a better play than Jacksonville to me. And then I like the Chargers at home over the Raiders. I actually think right there, like I said, 4,500. Bills. Yes, that's exactly what I said. I'll have them between 45 and 43. I would put personally, but like I said, it's fantasy. They go against Tennessee. I would have Jacksonville, but I'm still gonna have Jacksonville against Tennessee. I definitely will. Houston at Indy. That's a defense that can, like I said, they're getting very Bronco-esque. They are right there. They get sacks. They don't create too many turnovers. They're decent with the turnovers, but hey, it is a mission to get 20 points on this defense. And Houston, Texas on the road, they're just legit. It's the Jets, so the Falcons are still an option, even though they're on the road. It's still the Jets. Cleveland is also one of those defenses I always talk about. And like I said, they're going to be in that bad weather game. Cleveland, 3,900 at home. Definitely probably one of the favorite mid-range options. It's not the best defense, but still, I would still rather trust Miami at home than their defense on the road. And they do get New Orleans. So they can possibly get... This looks like now, not the Spencer Rattler kind of treatment, because Spencer Rattler was pretty good at not turning over the ball. The thing with Shuck is, Shuck has no problem chucking that ball down the field, which means more chances for sack or more chances for interceptions. So Miami's definitely not a bad choice. And the fact that there's so many defenses that I like, that lets you know this is an ugly, ugly slate. The Jets against Atlanta. Yes, they lost some of their, like I said, they lost their best D lineman. They lost their best quarterback. But this is still Kirk Cousins. And the Jets' run defense has been a bit better. Just like how the Cowboys' run defense has been a bit better. So it limits Bijan's ceiling. But this is still Bijan Robinson. That's still an option. Just remember, though, what Derrick Henry did. It took him a good amount of time to get and save his day with 2 touchdowns. Bijan Robinson is a lot more explosive than Derrick Henry. So if Atlanta know what they're doing, get to the Jets. But I think in Kirk Cousins' hands, there's times for sacks, 4 sack fumbles, and interceptions there. And I have no issue if you want to get there and get a little contrarian, because you're going to have a couple of the most popular owned guys on the slate in Waddle and A-Chain. New Orleans on the road against Miami, who is not a juggernaut. They had their days where they looked like a good offense. But you know me, I definitely trust New Orleans. New Orleans more at home than on the road. But Miami's no juggernaut. I think New Orleans should be able to scheme what they need to do to at least keep pace in that game. So, like I said, a couple of the most popular pieces there. So if you want to help kill some lineups and look good in at least one spot while majority of the field has Waddle and A-Chain this week, New Orleans is definitely a way to go. And then when it comes to paydowns, I actually don't want nothing to do with any of the paydowns until you get to the bottom, because it is Jacksonville. Tennessee is at home. And if you look at Tennessee, mid-price, if they could get anywhere from a 3 to a 6, you'll take it. Last few weeks, they've gone against Seattle, Houston, Chargers, Indy. And only one of those games did they go negative, and it was a -1 against Indianapolis when they gave them 25. Last 3 games, they've been at home, so they're at home for one more. So if there's any time to play the Tennessee defense, it would be now. Because if this is their fourth straight home game, that means they probably got one more home game and a bunch of road games for the rest of the year. So this is where 3,000 looks really, really good. Thank you for tuning in once again. This is your boy, Grade A Fantasy. And yes, before we go, let's just go over this once again. Like I said, tight end. There's opportunities at the top, but I definitely like the mid-range, especially Taysom. I like both Saints tight ends. When it comes to defense, it's worth paying all the way down at 3,000 for Tennessee. You got to go up a bit for other viable options. 3,400 for the Saints, 3,600 for the Jets, and I think pretty much, besides a couple of teams that I didn't speak to, I didn't speak about. Literally, there are options from 3,600 all the way up. Besides Pittsburgh, Tampa Bay, Indianapolis, and Buffalo. Other than that, there's a lot of options. But pay down. If you're paying down for the Saints. And if not, you're paying all the way down at the very bottom for Tennessee. Definitely, you are definitely doing that. Thank you for tuning in once again. This is your boy, Grade A Fantasy. Good luck this week. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy the rest of the holiday weekend. Wide receiver video coming up soon, and I'm signing off.